What's going on, YouTube? Today we're going to be getting into the top 10 players of the 2018 NBA draft. So without further ado, let's get into this video. First on the list, we have Luka Doncic, point guard of the Dallas Mavericks. Luka has came into the league hitting the ground running. He's already developed a signature killer move in his step back. The last 2 seasons, he's been in the top 10 in scoring, top 20 in assists and rebounds. And at the current rate and paces he's on now, if he somehow can win a couple of championships, he definitely can solidify himself as a top 10 player of all time with ease. How he didn't go number 1 overall in this draft, I don't know. I don't make the calls. But as a GM, I would have been way more comfortable selecting a player who's been a pro since the age of 13. Luka was selected to be an All-Star again this year and should also make an All-NBA team as well. Currently in this year's playoffs, Luka is averaging 33 points, 8 assists, and 8 rebounds in 4 games so far in his series against the Clippers, where that is tied at 2-2. He needs to shoot the ball a little bit better from the free throw line, shooting an underwhelming 41%. He's battling a neck strain going into Game 5. So the question remains, can Luka lead the Mavericks over the Clippers in the first round upset? Number 2 on the list, we have point guard Trey Young of the Atlanta Hawks. It's crazy that number 1 and 2 on this list were traded for each other on draft night. And it's safe to say that the trade has worked out well for both teams. Trey Young, better known as Ice Trey, has been killing the playoffs this year and setting the table for his teammates as well. He is the first player in 30 years to average 25 points and 9 assists and not make an All-Star team. Part of that had to do with the Hawks having a terrible record and being in an 11th seed, leading to the firing of Lloyd Pierce, where assistant coach and former NBA head coach Nate McMillan took over the Hawks, which helped turn the tables on the season and finish strong to get the 5th seed. Under Nate McMillan, you can see the growth in Trey's game, as you don't see him jacking 35-foot three-pointers like that as much. Instead, he's playing more downhill and getting in the lane, hitting tough floaters over the defense like he did in Game 2. Now he's telling them New York fans that it's a little quiet in here. Talk your stuff, Trey. Look at Spike, he like, damn, he just gamed us. Much Ice Trey business, and then he had this to say after the game.
It got real quiet in there. It's still yelling now, I don't care. Next one.
Now at number 3, we got Michael Porter Jr., also known as MPJ. MPJ slid on draft day due to back injury concerns from teams, causing his slide from potential top 3 pick to number 14, but he fell into the right situation. Coming out of college and high school, MPJ was really known as an ISO scorer, more of a rhythm type scorer. He had to make some real adjustments to his game coming into the league, especially on Denver's team, because in that system it operates more off cutting and moving off the ball, with their MVP and Jokic facilitating. This year he has turned up his production tremendously, and since the Jamal Murray injury, Michael Porter Jr.'s stats in just about every category has gone up like you would expect, while also playing along an MVP candidate in Nikola Jokic. MPJ has the chance to elevate his status as a young star in this league in these playoffs. Hopefully Denver can pull it out. At the number 4 spot, we got Deandre Ayton. Going into the draft, Deandre Ayton was viewed as the number 1 overall pick. DA is literally a walking double-double. Sometimes you got to question his motor, because he definitely could go get a double-double every night. But playing alongside D-Book, CP3, Mikal Bridges, and the crew. So in his defense, he has to also share the sugar a little bit. Nevertheless, though, DA is a walking double-double with 33 on him this season, 95 on his career.
And in the playoff series versus the Lakers, DA has just looked like the best big man on the floor, including with Anthony Davis being on the court. And to be honest, that says a lot. Like, look at his numbers. He's putting up stupid numbers for his first playoff series. Hopefully, DA can continue his playoff performance and help lead the Suns over the Lakers in that first round of that series.
Next up on the list, we have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, also known as SGA. Unfortunately, earlier in the season, SGA went down with an injury that ultimately kept him out for the rest of the year. But if you were paying attention to his play earlier in the year and his stats that just came up on the screen, he was en route to a career year. The Thunder ultimately decided it was important to shut him down for the rest of the season, especially since in the offseason, SGA was due to play for Team Canada in an effort to qualify for the Olympics. But that got put on hold with the Thunder wanting to be careful with his injury. SGA is just one of 4 players in a Thunder uniform to record 25 points per game on 50, 40, 80 shooting splits in a month. And with all the ammunition Sam Presti and the Thunder have over the next coming years, they definitely have a great piece to build around in SGA. And hopefully that translates.
Following SGA, we have point guard Colin Sexton of the Cleveland Cavaliers.
Colin Sexton is definitely trying to turn the page up there in Cleveland, up in their win total by +3. Last 2 years, they were 19 wins. This year, they were at 22 wins. And with the shortened season, it's safe to say that they were on pace to probably win a few more games. As a player, Young Bull can definitely go put the ball in the hoop.
He just struggles a little bit on knowing when to be in attack mode and also facilitating for his teammates. There was a report that came out the other day basically saying that the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to be looking to move off of him in the offseason, not wanting to pay his extension. That could very well be fake news or the truth. I just know in the NBA you can't win with 2 undersized guards in your backcourt, and they might be choosing Darius Garland over Sexton. Nevertheless, though, Young Bull is definitely still a bucket.
At the number 7 spot, we have Jaren Jackson Jr., or also Triple J. Jaren has also been battling injuries this year, hence why he's at number 7. He just came back from an MCL tear in the bubble that kept him out for the majority of this season. But don't get it twisted. When healthy, Jaren Jackson is definitely the second best player on the Grizzlies roster. He is the 10th youngest player to score 40 points in a game and the second youngest player since 2009 to score 40. So the skill and talent level is most definitely there. It's just a point of staying on the court for Jaren.
Jaren definitely has the potential to be a solidified number 2, number 3 option on the team. But right now, with Memphis currently down 3-1 in the playoffs to the Jazz, he's going to need to be a lot better than what he's been playing, just to be brutally honest. Stop settling for threes all the time. He plays better when he works inside out. So the next step for Jaren to live up to his number 4 draft slot is to just stay on the court and to produce, man.
All right, at number 8, we have Mikal Bridges. I like to consider Mikal Bridges as a solid role player, glue guy type of guy. However, this season he showed he could be a little bit more than that, especially to this Phoenix Suns team who just acquired CP3, has been kind of tearing up the NBA this year as a whole. He increased his scoring average by 4+ points with 3 more shot attempts than last season. So when given the opportunity and touches, Mikal is definitely somebody that you can rely on. He's a willing defender. He sits in the stance. He's going to guard the opposing team's best perimeter player. He is the first Suns player with a 23, 3, 3, and 3. And 3 3-pointers made in a game since Shawn Marion, who did that back in 2003. That stat line alone just shows you that Mikal Bridges can just do it all for you. Just an overall solid player. Would love to have him on the Heat. At 9, we got Devontae Graham. I had a tough time deciding where to put these last couple slots at. Ultimately, I went with Devontae Graham simply because he also went second round, and to be where he's at today in the league is really just a testament to how hooping he really is. Like, I don't think people understand, like, Devontae can go. Just right now in Charlotte, man, it's just extremely guard heavy. You have LaMelo Ball, who they drafted second overall this year, Terry Big Money Rose, Malik Monk, who still gets minutes, and Devontae Graham. That's just a lot of guard play. But as a starter, he still manages to put up numbers when they call on him, and that's important to me. Despite of the heavy guard play rotation, Devontae still manages to play his role and to make the right plays, and it's paying off. Charlotte has to do something with all these guards so that they can maximize their roster a little bit better. Here we have Marvin Bagley III. I don't want to be too hard on Bag, just due to the fact that he got drafted to arguably the worst franchise in the association. Boys ain't had no postseason play in 15 years, man. And when Luke Walton is considered to be one of your most winningest coaches in your franchise's history, it says a lot. And that's no disrespect to Luke Walton, but there's no reason Marvin Bagley shouldn't be averaging 20 and 10 in today's NBA. However, though, he arguably had his best game as a pro late in the season this year. The Kings were playing the Indiana Pacers, where he put up 31 points and 12 rebounds in a win without their two top players in De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes. This was a big game for his confidence, meaning that it also had playoff implications for both teams' play-in seeds. So it was a big step. Hopefully, Bag can build on this in the offseason and come out strong next year. And that wraps up my top 10. Now for the honorable mentions.
This is about the number twos, the runners-up.
Up here we got Miles Bridges. Miles Bridges lived on House of Highlights this year. I had a tough time leaving him out the top 10. A very respectable player, can hit the threes, very athletic. With the arrival of LaMelo Ball acting as floor general for the Hornets, I believe it's going to be good for Miles Bridges' career moving forward in Charlotte.
And the last honorable mention is Kevin Huerter, swingman for the Hawks. Kevin's an excellent three-point shooter and a secondary playmaker for the Hawks. He's carved out a nice role for the team. They are a bit wing-heavy over there, but his shooting keeps him on the court. So that wraps up this video, man. Appreciate you for sticking through and watching the whole video. If you like this video, be sure to leave a like. If you stayed to the end, comment your favorite player on the video. And don't forget to leave a like, hit that bell, and stay tuned to the next one.